No,
Who do you believe, J. Cole?
First of all, I'm happy that J. Cole's here after
you,
the
man.
damage that Diggy Simmons did to his career.
There you go.
You know.
We got the king of rock, Reverend Run, in the house with his sons Diggy and JoJo.
What up guys, Ali here and welcome to Ali Talks Music. Add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video. So for most of us, the first time we came across Diggy Simmons was when he appeared on Run's house when he was just a kid. At the time, nobody knew what would become of his career path. Because at the time, I won't lie, when I watched Run's house, and even though Diggy practically grew up right before our very eyes, I didn't see him ever doing music, you know? He seemed to be a little bit reserved, a bit spoiled. So you can imagine my surprise when I found out that the little kid from Run's house, JoJo's younger brother, has actually decided to be a rapper. The name Diggy, it came from my aunt. So one of Diggy's first forays into music was when he dropped the mixtape First Flight around 2009.
This is a taste of what you getting. First Flight coming down November 24th, so go down low.
But before the mixtape dropped, Diggy dropped a couple of tracks to test the waters. Just to paint a picture of what Diggy was competing against in 2009, Jay-Z dropped the Blueprint 3 that year, Rick Ross dropped Deeper Than Rap, 50 dropped Before I Self-Destruct, and Eminem dropped Relapse. Now most of these artists did well in that year, but if we're going to be honest, the time period between 2008, 2009, 2010 was really Lil Wayne's time to dominate hip-hop. So, Diggy dropped his mixtape during the Lil Wayne era, and if you listen to the mixtape, you can clearly tell that he was influenced by Wayne.
Baby girl, you know we have been just friends for some time now, but I've been wanting to tell you this is the first day we've been down.
Now when First Flight came out, it was apparently downloaded over 100,000 times from his own blog, so clearly people were interested to see what Diggy was up to. The mixtape had about 13 tracks on it, featuring rappers we've never heard of, like Lil G and Young Jers. However, despite being a mixtape that came out of nowhere, and despite being a rapper that many people thought was privileged, Diggy's mixtape managed to garner quite a little bit of attention. And according to him, 5 labels wanted to sign him, but he ultimately said no to most of them and signed to Atlantic around 2010. Soon after this, he began talking about a potential album. Taking a tour of the Atlantic offices. This is real surreal right now. It's official. Real thankful, just taking it all in. Now around the time Diggy dropped his debut mixtape, he made sure to drop something that would get people talking and aware of his lyrical ability by dropping a freestyle over Nas's Made You Look.
Yeah, it's been debated and contemplated if Diggy's overrated, but what the haters have stated never penetrated.
Now everybody knows that Nas is a very lyrical rapper, and everything he touches seems to reflect that. So when Diggy chose to freestyle over Nas's Made You Look beat, he had no choice but to prove that he was lyrical as well. And I think that's what he did with this freestyle. If you listen to the words, Diggy is actually spitting, and you can clearly tell that he was largely influenced by 90s and early 2000s rappers. Not only that, but halfway during the freestyle, Diggy dropped a line stating that he isn't like a little Bow Wow who's dropping music for the kids. He was making grown man music.
And as I'm walking, the people talking, they see now. And I don't rap for my age like little Bow Wow, the son of a king, so why would I ever bow down?
Now with this track, Diggy showed a lot of promise and captured the attention of several industry figures, and one of them was none other than the college dropout MC, Kanye. After hearing what Diggy did on the track, Kanye went on Twitter to praise Diggy. I knew this kid was going to be fresh. I knew it. So with people co-signing Diggy and claiming he was the next man up, eventually people began to take notice of the young rapper. An interesting thing to notice around this time, Diggy dropped the track called Oh Yeah, which featured Lupe Fiasco and Diggy's mentor in the industry, Pharrell Williams. A few years ago, he, meaning Pharrell, was in my uncle's office, and I was with my man Rashid, and it kind of took off from there. It's kind of a big brother and a mentor relationship. So with all of these things backing the young upcoming rapper, Diggy knew that he had to do something to not slow down his momentum. So what did he do? He dropped 3 mixtapes, and on mixtape number 3 he did something very interesting. He chose to rap on beats that came out around the 90s, like Mobb Deep's Shook Ones. And by doing this, Diggy was paying respect to all the artists that came before him, but he was also saying that I can truly rap, and I can do it over your favorite rapper's beats.
Live from the apple, slicing the American pie with dope lyrics. Watch me get America high by European.
Now things took a turn for the better in Diggy's career when he appeared in XXL's 2011 freshman class alongside Lil Twist, Meek Mill, Mac Miller, and Kendrick Lamar amongst others. Now you know how the XXL splits the artists into groups and makes them spit a freestyle or pre-written verse? Well, out of all of these rappers, it seems like Mac Miller wasn't playing any games and came to handle business.
Whatever it is, I get in this trade. I'm too obsessed, too dedicated, never escape.
And the same could be said of YG and even Diggy. And I'm the biggest Lil Twist hater in the world because I don't even like not even one of his songs. Not one. I hate his voice, I hate his flow, but I will say that even Twist did decently in the cypher. You know, miracles do happen sometimes.
Beating up this beat like at a high school drum line. I got the teachers like, what does he become now?
Overall, even though the beat selection was questionable, the cypher was very entertaining, and as far as Diggy goes, this was his I'm here moment because he was now standing alongside the hottest up-and-coming rappers in the game, except for Lil Twist. Lil Twist was never up-and-coming, and I have receipts. Now in the same year, Diggy appeared in the XXL 2011 freshman class. He also dropped one of the biggest singles of his career called Copy Paste. Now I won't lie, this song is severely underrated. The video reminds me of something Wayne would do, meaning it's up to par with the videos that were coming out in that time. The lyrics were pretty good, and most importantly, the hook of the song was catchy as hell. In my opinion, Copy and Paste was a great attempt at a first major record. However, despite meeting the standard, it didn't perform as well as the songs his peers would drop. So the song came out and it did relatively well for Diggy standards, but something was missing. After dropping a couple of mixtapes, dropping a single and appearing in the XXL freshman class of 2011, Diggy still didn't have any album. However, behind the scenes, while people were questioning when he was going to drop it, that's exactly what he was working on. The album was recorded around 2010 and 2011 and came out in 2012 in the form of Unexpected Arrival. Now if you listen to the project, you can clearly tell that Diggy wanted to be taken seriously as a rapper and entertainer. That is evidenced by the fact that he had Jadakiss, a well-known lyricist on the project.
That's when my family was rocking. I just sat back and watched them. I was only 13, so I ain't know nothing about copping.
Now at this point in his musical career, you can tell that Diggy was leaps and bounds above his brother JoJo at rapping. Obviously, because JoJo was the older brother in the situation, he got into rapping first, and he tried to make a mark in the industry by forming his own rap group. However, people were not taking him very seriously, and he wasn't able to build a fan base. JoJo's bars were terrible, let's be honest. Not only that, JoJo chose the path of being a rapper that flexes and sometimes acts tough. And the thing is, we all saw him grow up in this lavish mansion with his dad in a bathtub every morning reading poems or whatever, right? We all saw it. And we all know that JoJo does not have a tough bone in his body. So when JoJo tried to rap, it almost seemed inauthentic.
I think Tiger's trash. Tiger's not trash. Tiger's not trash. I don't think he's trash.
JoJo Simmons. Trash. That nigga, JoJo Simmons.
But one thing Diggy did differently was he chose to be lyrical and began giving off the persona of a ladies' man. It was a very weird thing to notice because one day Diggy was this little kid trailing behind JoJo as far as rapping goes, and the next moment he surpassed him, becoming the brother with the most respect in the game. It was just a weird time to be alive. So after dropping his debut album, it came time for the fans, the public, and the label to tally up the score to see if Diggy actually performed well or not. Now the album took over a year to sell about 89,000 copies, so in all honesty, the album didn't perform very well. So after dropping his album and seeing how it performed, it almost seems like Diggy slowed down on the musical front. He went on to announce a mixtape that was never released, and from then on he became the guy that would drop a couple of singles every now and then. Now, one thing Diggy always had in his back pocket was his upbringing in the spotlight, which gave him access to things the average person can only dream of. For example, around 2013, he landed the role in the film The Startup. However, Diggy's acting career actually took off when he got the role of Doug in the TV show Grownish, which is a spin-off of Blackish. He began as a recurring character, but he was later promoted to main cast because of his stellar performance on the show. Now, as of late, it appears that Diggy is not really into his rap career. His last big single came out in the early 2010s, and his debut album did not meet expectations. So, naturally, he decided to do something else with his career. Diggy seems to be doing really well on Grownish, and he was made for the role, so I hope we get to see more of Doug. But on the musical front, Diggy is extremely quiet. Sometimes that happens when sales don't meet expectations. Now, Diggy did drop an album called Lighten Up around 2018, but after being on a hiatus for about 6 years as far as music goes, this album missed the mark completely. Diggy gets about 65,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and his most listened to songs are Do It Like You, Text Me, 4-letter word, Copy Paste, and My Girl. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is that Diggy had a minor beef with a major artist starting from around 2010, and that artist is J. Cole. See, around 2010, J. Cole dropped a track called Purple Rain, and in this song, he talks about a certain preacher's daughter and how that preacher's daughter lost her ways when she got to college. Now, the thing is, Cole and Angela Simmons attended the same college, so these bars were clearly about Angela Simmons. So, Diggy, trying to defend his sister, drops a diss track at J. Cole called What You Say To Me. And all I have to say is, wow, that song is career ending. That's why J. Cole still has a career to this day.
The other day I was listening to Purple Rain, couldn't believe all of the things I heard him say. Who that, you know who it is. Heard you lying on my sis, telling people that you hear.
Now when the song comes out, Diggy's like, oh no, that song got leaked. I didn't want it to come out. However, during one of J. Cole's performances, he says the following. Picture me hating on a young nigga with talent, caked out on his allowance. So here J. Cole was saying, look, you got all your money from daddy, bro. You're not even on my level. So Diggy hears what Cole has to say and then drops another diss track at Cole called Fall Down.
I guess I rattled you, snaggletooth, you know better. Thought Jay stood for Jermaine, not jet setter.
And what does Cole do after this? He ignores Diggy. The whole thing fizzles out. J. Cole and Diggy eventually meet up where J. Cole says that he wasn't trying to diss Angela, and after this the whole beef is resolved. That's it for me, it's your boy Ali. What happened to Diggy in your opinion? Let me know down below. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.